This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. After experiencing trauma, I went to therapy, and my therapist guided me through a difficult time in my life. They helped me understand what was happening and provided me with tools to cope and find my own strength and resilience. Their experience and compassion were invaluable and enabled me to rebuild my life and move forward. I strongly believe in the power of therapy to help people through difficult times. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. First, you go to their site. You can use my link, betterhelp.com/resilience. You answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/resilience or choose podcast, then notes on resilience during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month.
I'm in a position as a leader, I'm in a position in which I need to serve people. I'm not in a position I get served by people or I get advantage of people. I need to serve them. I need to be present for them, help them. What do I need to do in order that you have everything to success in your job?
Hello, and welcome to Notes on Resilience. My name is Manya Chilinsky, and my guest today is Sebastián Torres-Calderon. He is the CEO at Stay Unique, which is rental apartments across Spain. And we talked about compassion and leadership, what it was like to lead through the COVID crisis, and what does it really mean to be a leader. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. Sebastian, I'm so glad to be talking to you today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Manja. Pleasure to be here.
First question, everyone has to answer this one. What is one thing you have done in any area of your life that you never thought you would do?
Thank you. I think I got the answer right. It's probably moving to Europe, that it's another continent, another country and continent that crossing the sea. And moving at 25 years old, I have never imagined left my home and starting a new life. So I think that needs to be the answer.
Yes, that qualifies. That is a huge move to move from South America to Europe. How are you liking it over there?
It's very nice. It's very nice. I did pass through United States first. I went there I live in Naples at 19 years old for a year or so. Was doing an internship, but then moving everything and starting a new life here at 25 was a little bit different. Back then I knew I was going to be back in Peru in a year or so, but when I packed my bags and came to Europe, I didn't know what to expect.
Yes, that's a huge change. Well, I'm envious. Every once in a while, I think of packing all my bags and moving to Europe. So we are talking about compassionate leadership and leading through crisis. And you have been in a position to lead teams through a crisis. I'm thinking here of COVID. And I'm curious, how do you think about strong leadership and how important that is in a crisis?
Thank you for asking. It was kind of weird for me, right? Because I wasn't a leader back then, or at least I wasn't in a leadership position because I was doing an internship. I came to Spain to do my master's degree and I get an internship in Stay Unique. That was the company I'm still working at. And I wasn't in a leadership position. I was in a customer service position, a customer service representative. But when COVID hit, everything was very blur of what we needed to do in the company. And I don't know, we were like maybe 50 people or 40 people, and suddenly we were 10 or 8 because everyone left. And it was really weird. And I think that, I don't know if that's was a quality I have or something that I learned how to do, but it was instinct. And I said, I think now I'm not in a leadership position, but I have a lot of responsibility. I cannot leave this company just like that. And had been 2 months there, so there wasn't really a kind of I had been 3 years here, so my loyalty needs to be shown or whatever. It was I don't know culture values of what my family taught me, and I said, well, we need to do something here. I don't know if leadership per se, but this leadership position started to get a form, right? First through actions or things I could have been doing, and then more formally, hey, there's clearly a path here, right?
Right. Well, one thing that's so important about your experience and what you just shared is that it's possible to lead without having a formal leadership role. You saw something that needed to be done and jumped in to help.
Yeah, I think it could be tough. You can teach how to be a leadership or how to be a leader, but it's something also you acquire from very early ages in your life. And it's when you are in school and there are some situations in when you need to stand up and lead a group of people to do something. Hopefully it's a good thing, but it's when you start to doing this kind of stuff, right? Without knowing this is going to help you in the future, or without knowing this is what a leader should do. It's just an instinct of something that happens, and you act and people start following on you for some reason. And I think I have had done or realizing that now from my past and some scenarios in which in the past I said nothing, but now I realize, hey, I was leading a group of people back then also. That was maybe my friends, I don't know.
Well, you bring up something that a few of my recent guests have talked about, which is the importance of who you are and what you learn when you're young. That those are the qualities we bring to our roles as adults. We don't always want to think about it that way, but you learned your leadership skills the same way that I did when we were young.
Yeah, I think I did through sports actually. I was a fan of soccer or football, whatever name you want to call it, and I loved it. And I think I was good. And then I was the captain in my school, and I think those were my path through leadership starts, right? But leadership by example, always been don't do to others or don't ask someone to do something you wouldn't do, done or things like that. Yeah.
And you bring up something important. I think sports, especially when we're young, can really help play that role of shaping how we work with others, how we work as teams, how we think about leadership. So glad that you brought that up. What position do you play?
I was a midfielder, and it's crazy. It's crazy because it's you said the sports, right? Until it doesn't become a profession, you said it's a hobby, it's something we need to do to keep healthy and so on. But there is so much about things that then you can apply to work or life that you have been taught or teach by sports. It's amazing.
And I love that you don't necessarily know you're being taught. You just learn it as part of what you're doing. I have a question about your experience in COVID. So you took on some leadership responsibilities just because of who you are. Did you notice specific actions or activities that you wished leadership was doing and they weren't? So were you acting to fill something that was missing, or you just jumped in with both feet and said, I can help?
I'm not sure. I think I wasn't thinking on that. I was just thinking there's a crisis. We need to act as a team and as fast and as good as possible we can. And we need to do the best we can. And then I wasn't thinking, should I be a leader or not? Or is there a situation in which I need to act? I just act and I started working really hard, really long hours and said, we need to save the company because it's not going to save itself, right? And then suddenly I was maybe in a position in which for some reason people didn't know what to do in this or that scenario. And they asked me, and I just answered without thinking again that I was helping someone to be a leader. And then new people start entering into a company, and I think that's where I was seen as someone we need to ask Sebastian because he probably knows what to do. And that's where I start realizing, okay, I'm doing some tasks or some things that are from a leadership position.
That's so interesting that you say that you weren't thinking necessarily, I need to become a leader. You were just doing what you saw was needed in the time. But now you are officially a leader now. You are a CEO. So how have you taken that lesson that you learned into your current role?
Yeah, again, it's crazy, right? Because the company grew so much, and I grew with the company, and we were 10 back then. We are 70 right now, and we have, I don't know, 5 times the work we used to have, or 10 times the work we used to have back then, and things started to flow, right? And I think I have learned so much because we don't stop learning, right? It's not that I knew everything back then, and because I lead a team of football, it's the same, and I can lead here. No, you can take examples, but I learn every day because I have passed through different positions or level of positions of responsibility. And sometimes, there is something to be, I don't know, in a leadership position of a customer service that's really important, but it's a really different profile than what I'm doing now, right? Because it's a profile that probably, I don't know, needs more attention and more detail and more follow-ups on things. And now I'm in a position in which I have people that report to me that don't need any supervision, and that probably are better than me in what they do, right? So again, I think, at least myself, I think the leadership things that I'm learning, I will continue learning in my path every day.
Right. I like that. Someone who like wants to learn something new every day because I think we learn something new every day whether we want to or not. So you can embrace it and just appreciate that you're doing that. Sebastian, as a leader now, as a formal leader who's got people who work for you, do you think about the concept of compassion in your team and what do you think about it if you do?
Yes, it's a complicated word, right? Because you can take it in a bad way or in a good way, right? I have compassion for you. I don't know, could be something that it's not well seen, depending on maybe on the language that you said it. Maybe in Spanish it's a little bit different, but I think we need to have it. At the end, we're taking responsibilities on people's lives. That is because work is an important part of their lives, right? And it's what's supporting their family, and a lot of things are related to this. And I think it's related to trust, to honesty, accountability, and some words that maybe you can accompany this, right? But I think it's really important. I think it's really important to have it. I think I told you, it's not something you normally see in kitchens. For example, I used to work in a kitchen where it's a really different environment, right? It's a high amount of pressure, crazy people yelling at each other, not compassion at all. So yeah, that's an answer, I think.
That's a good answer. And I appreciate that you brought up your work in the kitchens because, as we discussed on our pre call, those are not environments where that people associate with the word compassion.
Yeah, I learned a lot in my time I was working in kitchens, the good things and the bad things, right? And the good things are maybe the crazy hours I work, the grateful I am for being in the type of company or position I am now, and how I get to treat others, and the example I maybe don't want to give to others. But yeah, it's crazy environments. I don't know why. I don't know if it's changing. I think people is realizing, and that's why now it's so difficult to get people to work in kitchens because nobody wants to do it anymore. It's not a great high pay salary plus long hours plus someone treating you bad. It's a combo that you don't like in your life, or you are not able to sustain for long of time, right?
Right. It's a case study in the opposite of a compassionate workplace. I'm curious. So, what is the word for compassion in Spanish?
It's really similar. It's compassion, but I don't know if it's more related to pity, to pittiness.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm not so sure.
Okay. So it's not something you guys spend a lot of time talking about in terms of work environment, is it?
No, or no, we talk about or the values we had in a company, right? We talk about of accountability, of honesty, of caring. We talk about of I think maybe it's a mix of trust or honesty and caring, right? Because I will care for someone, then I will probably have kind of compassion for someone, right? Because I care for this person. But at the same time, I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna hold accountable. And yeah, I think all of this is related to how I care for someone.
Yes, yes, you're absolutely right. Whether you use that word compassion or not, when you talk about building trust, accountability, those are all pieces of it. What do you think we're missing in leadership development programs in terms of building that compassion in whatever words you use to describe it?
Good question. I think we're missing the fact that there is a say, right? Or something that I have read a lot recently is leadership through service. And that we as leaders, or I'm in a position as a leader, I'm in a position in which I need to serve people. I'm not in a position I get served by people or I get advantage of people. I need to serve them. I need to be present for them, help them. Why? What do I need to do in order that you have everything to success in your job or the thing that you need to do, right? So yeah, we need to serve more. We need to be there for people and for the company. And it's related to humble, right? To being humble. I just have a title. The CEO is a title. Then I'm a person as anyone else, and I have been the position probably that you have been if I need to talk to an employee. And it's leadership for service.
Yes. Yes, that is a term I've been hearing a lot recently as well, servant leadership and leadership through service, which is, I think, a key way of bringing those kind of skills we've been talking about, building trust, building accountability. Um, so, from your perspective, your experience through COVID and your experience as a leader now, have you ever explicitly thought about the concept of psychological safety in the workforce?
I have not heard about it. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what it means specifically?
So it's so related to what we're talking about. So it's building an environment where people know they can trust you. So they can trust you if they have a problem, they can come to you. They trust that you're going to treat them fairly. And so when we started talking so much about trust and accountability, that's psychological safety is a really big piece that you have this environment where people feel safe.
Yes, and I I agree completely. I think it's difficult, right? Because we as leaders, as we have two responsibilities, or we have or one, or whatever you want to say. But for me, we have two, right? And one is I need to be able that this space is the most comfortable or most safe environment that it needs to be because it's your work. You're gonna be here 5 days a week, probably more with us than with your family, and this needs to be a good place, right? And you need to feel that. But the other way, especially when we talk about young people, right? I have or I feel I have a responsibility that when you enter the company, if you're leaving one day, you're leaving as a better person, or you're leaving as someone that is better prepared professionally in terms that he goes to another company and he is going to be the best in that company because of the things we talked, right? Sometimes related with pressure, with attention to detail, with a lot of accountability and trust, and say you can improve in this and this, and sometimes it's not easy. So there is a carefully balance that you need to have in order to don't exceed that amount of pressure. It's like when you're a parent, right? I'm not a parent, but my dad used to pressure me a lot, and I think that was because he cared about me and he wanted the best for me, and I appreciate that now. Not back in the past, but now I appreciate.
Right.
So it's I think it's related to that, and sometimes it's a fine line. It's not easy, and you can make mistakes and then maybe take it too far, and that's where you need to balance again.
Right. You know what you're saying, I realize is different from what some leaders think. I mean, you are talking so much about that servant leadership and how to build trust and to build an environment where people feel supported and taken care of. And not every leader necessarily thinks that way. Now, how do you one of the things that I hear is how do you measure that? So if you are building trust or you are building accountability, how is that impacting the bottom line? How can we show that that makes a difference? So how do you balance that, that your business needs to be making money and it's really important to be treating people this way?
Not easy, but I think that the answer is measuring things, right? And then you can measure two things for that. We measure a lot of things, but the two things that can answer to this is one is a company achieving the results that we need. Are we hiring and firing based on our values? So are we really strict with our values? And then we have the NPS or the employee net promoter score, right? So if the company is achieving the results and at the end people is answering good, so we have I think 63, that is higher than the average of companies or much higher, and it's really good, right? So it's a good result. And sometimes I think the mistake we do in leadership teams is that we want or we hold HR accountable for the happiness of our teams. And that's not correct because our teams spend, if I have a team, probably the team spends 90% of the time they work in communication with me and 10% for HR. So why should I hold accountable HR for the happiness of this person? If 90% of the communication is with me, if this person is happy, it's clearly because I'm not doing something well. So so if you hold that accountable, so for example, I have my direct reports, right? And I'm entirely 100% responsible that these people are happy and they're accomplishing their results. But then these people have direct reports, right? And I need to hold them accountable that, hey, your direct reports is your responsibility to make them happy. And in the same part to accomplish the goals that they have in the department. And then if you keep going down with that, then you build a culture of accountability and trust and everything we have been talking about, I think.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So I hadn't thought about that employee net promoter score in a while. I haven't even thought about that. That's a pretty high number you guys have there.
Yes, we're very happy.
So yes, you are very happy. People really enjoy working there. Sebastian, we're getting close to the end of our time. I'd love to find out from you what is giving you hope right now.
I think acting in a, I think what we have been talking recently, right? It's a leadership for service, not only in work, but in my or trying to do it in my life, right? So if I help someone or do a good action every day, then that's probably making me happy and making something good in the world. So that's where happiness is. I think it's in the more you help people, the more probably happy you're gonna be, and the more hope you're gonna have in the future is good.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Now, before we go, can you share with our listeners a little bit more about yourself and your work?
Sure. I'm currently in Spain, in Barcelona. But I'm originally from Lima, Peru. I have been living here in Spain 6 years since 6 years ago, 2019. I work at Stay Unique, that is the best company in the world. It's a rental management company, and well, based in Barcelona, well, with operations in Spain, in Sevilla and Malaga. And I think that's it. I love football. I love dogs, and I spend time with my family.
I think that sounds fabulous. I love that your company is the greatest company in the world to you. That's so important in a leader, I think. Sebastian, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thanks to you, Manja. It was a pleasure.
Hey, and thanks to our listeners for checking out this episode of Notes on Resilience, and I will catch you next time.